start with Zach.
All right, good morning. Appreciate the opportunity here to talk. Really excited about Bob Boat. I know you guys had a chance to talk to him here a few minutes ago, but just the opportunity to bring someone of his caliber to our program and area of offensive line, just elite football coach, awesome person, one of the best in the country at what he does, and just really fortunate to be able to have him here with us. And as already in the short time we've been together, just ultimate pro and what he does, and just a great recruiter, understanding his position and what he needs at that spot, and just really we're going to be looking forward to working with him and what he brings to our program in an area that we needed to improve at for sure, and really excited for him to get with our players here once we get into off the road recruiting, get a chance to start developing those guys on a daily basis. So really excited about that. Also really excited to have Steve join us here. Ruzik is with our new director of recruiting, and just the experience he brings, the places he's been, just be able to bring new ideas and new leadership in that area. We're going to restructure our whole recruiting department in a lot of ways, just to be able to adapt to the new landscape that we're in college sports. And so we're going to add a position as well in the process of being able to find that person and be able to help us grow as we continue to maximize the evaluation process and the way that the players now are at our disposal to be able to evaluate. And it's expanded group beyond just high school players now, and so be able to maximize that. And so we're excited about his leadership there and being able to help us grow and continue to do a better job. I just never cease to say this: we've got to be tremendous evaluators in this program, and we have to be great developers as well. And so the evaluation process, want to do a better job of that as we continue to expand and grow. And then also just the class that we brought in of transfers, just many young men that have had played at a high level collegiately and have had opportunities to be able to be successful, and now they're going to be coming to Indiana and helping us continue to build our program. So really excited about the class and the ability to be able to develop those guys, get to know them at a more high level here real soon. Obviously, to start that process started. Some of those guys that started before we ever brought them here, and by recruiting them the first time around out of high school, and then also to be able to get guys here that can help us and help us grow. So I will be really diving into them here once we get off the road here this next week. So we've got to finish up this next phase of recruiting. It's now in phase 3, and I consider it a 4-phase process. So phase 3 is up next here, and we've got 1 week to close out that, and then be able to sign probably just going to be a handful of guys on February 1st. So excited to talk about any of these guys you like to talk about, and excited about the rest of our spring. Questions?
Zach and Matt.
Tom, I imagine this could be a much longer answer, but what does that look like in terms of talking about restructuring sort of recruiting, I guess, maybe not philosophy, but the process, especially in trying to evaluate maybe more quickly in some situations, a guy out of the portal, trying to figure out the balance of high school versus transfer, that sort of thing. Just what is that going to look like on a day-to-day basis for you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it has really changed, I think. And so for me, I always kind of use the NFL as the model. You know, this is what they do full time. You know, in regards to they don't have the academic piece to handle like we do, but just the way they've structured and how they evaluate their players. And so we're going to follow that model and go through as we recreate and add a division of college scouting that we've not had in the past. And to me, that's ability for us to evaluate players that are in the portal and to be able to very efficiently. You know, you kind of think how this transpired this past year. I think you know, you had the date of December 5th where the portal opened, and you had 1,200 players go in the portal in the window of time, and you had to get them evaluated quickly. We were already on the road recruiting, and you had to get them evaluated and then be able to figure out who you wanted to target, you know, and then build those relationships to convince them to come to campus to visit. And so just trying to be able to get ahead of all that whole process and add a whole new division for that, to me, is what we're going to be able to do. And then to continue to do a great job evaluating our high school players. That part has not changed. That will be a staple for who we are and what we do here as a developmental program. But the new dimension that we have to have is the ability to maximize that whole process. And so get those guys evaluated and to be able to do a great job of overseeing that, organizing that, and dividing our staff. Because right now we've had to basically just take the staff that we had and just divvy it all up. and which made it spread us pretty thin. So that to me is a big part of it, and then also just continuing to maximize the NIL component to all of this, which is a big part of everything that we're working through. And so there's just new complexities that make it more challenging without question. So bringing in a guy like Steve with his experience in this area and to be able to help us grow in that part of our recruiting is going to be very, very important.
All right, Matt to Mike.
Hey, Coach. Kind of a two-part question. Obviously, big news, transfer quarterback. You got Taven Jackson in. I know you guys recruited him out of high school. First part of the question is, just kind of talk about what you guys like about him and how you think he can impact. And then secondly, the one negative is he doesn't have a ton of experience. Are you still on the lookout for maybe a more experienced guy, older guy to bring in, or are you guys done at quarterback going forward?
Well, the first part of your question, just about him, a player out of high school. Yeah, I mean, we've been recruiting him ever since he was young. Coming through there at Center Grove and built that relationship with him, and always enjoy our conversations. And as you may or may not know, early in the process, we can't reach out to them. They have to be able to reach out to us. And so we had a scheduled time. He called me every Sunday afternoon, and loved those talks we had together. But he would have to initiate that, in terms of he would have to call me. And so he was always awesome with that when he was only a sophomore in high school. He's coming through the ranks. And so just built that with his family, and obviously he made a decision, but we recruited him hard, so you felt like and it happened pretty quickly when he made the decision to go in the portal and then reached out to us. But bottom line was we already had that relationship built. What we liked about him was his athleticism. He's a long athlete, multi-sport guy, basketball, track, all three of those, and just felt like that he could create with his legs, with his arm. He's a tremendous leader. Have a lot of close ties to their staff, know them well, which allows us to know him even better. The behind-the-scenes leadership piece that he brought, and the confidence and the swagger that he brings to a room when he walks in there. So those are things you're looking for in a quarterback. The accuracy piece, the ability to throw the football, run the football, has that dual effectiveness in high school, and then you saw that even this past year playing at the time that he played at Tennessee. So to be able to bring a young man of that caliber is very, very important. But you're right, he is young. So right now that we have 4 scholarship quarterbacks on the team, I believe Dexter's situation creates a little bit different dynamic, trying to figure out how that's all going to play itself out. Obviously the serious injury that he's had and how that would affect him moving forward. And so have had discussions about that, but that's one of those things that is a little challenging to do. It sounds great. You'd be able to bring an older guy in to kind of do all that, but not sure how that's going to play itself out. Don't have plans to do that right now. We're going to go through spring football and then reevaluate at that point. So, but we will not be adding anybody else to our team before spring football in any position. So, but right now we're excited about the whole class of guys that we have, both high school guys as well as the transfers. They all are coming to our team, and now our job is to build the best team. And that process is a daily process, and our strength staff is heavily involved in that right now, and they do a phenomenal job. And so I'm really excited about what the spring has to offer us.
Mike and Pete.
Yeah, Coach, when it comes to adding players between now and the final recruiting period here, what are the positions that you are focused on and making additions here late?
Yeah, I would say some more depth on the defensive line would be a focus. Probably a guy or two in the secondary. Probably going to go younger with that group as well. Potentially young wide receiver as well. I would say feel good about where we're at on the offensive line. Could add an additional spot there. We got some flexibility with that. And then also tight end gives us a little flexibility. We got one potential piece there to figure out. Feel good where we're at receiver. Then, like I said, adding a young one I think would be a good goal to have. Now those things can, when you say that, you look at, you could have a possibility of having guys that have 3 or 4 years left to play. They may choose to make themselves available after spring football. Those are all things you could be kind of categorized, based on each room. You need an older guy, a younger guy, and so sometimes that younger guy could be a high school player or could be a transfer with 3 or 4 years left to play. So just definitely a whole new world of opportunities that we have now for us to pick from that have not had in the past, and the ability to have that movement. So, but I would say the defensive line would probably be the biggest focus at this point.
All right, Pete and Todd.
Tom, and sticking with that defensive line, in particular, like Andre Carter and Phillip, and I guess maybe Collins too as well. What attributes do they bring?
Well, I tell you what, I'm really excited about all these guys. You know, big physical athletes is the way I would describe it. A lot of length. You know, Andre's played a lot of football. You know, Phil's played a lot of football. They both are very athletic. Already seen them at our workouts since they've been here. Marcus Burris, same thing. Very athletic young man out of Texas A&M, and you know, Linnell Carr, another one who's played a lot of football in the Big 12, and that just gives you a mature, you know, guy ready to step in here and play right away. You know, and that's the expectation. And we obviously got guys already here that are going to have to compete, and that's one thing I would challenge all of our guys. I mean, you know. We had this talk in our last team meeting here this past Sunday night about embracing and being excited about the guys we've added to your room, to be able to push you, to motivate you, to sharpen you as a player. You bring other guys that you're going to compete against, you know, and that's what the kind of room we want. And I want guys that are here that want that embrace that. They're excited about us adding new guys that might be older. It's different. You bring an older guy in and then you bring a younger guy in. They kind of, you know, have maybe a different mindset about that. But at the same time, I want a team that embraces that. So those guys give us physicality, a lot of experience, and just some mass on the defensive line, which we know we have to have in the Big Ten.
Todd and Jack.
Tom, you mentioned the vastly altered recruiting landscape. What does Steve bring to the table? What trait did you like about him that gets your recruiting to where you want it to be?
Well, there's several things. First of all, you know, I like the fact that he's been in some places a lot like us, you know, some places not as much like us in regards to how we approach things. So you get a broad spectrum of different ways of doing things across the country from different conferences. And some places where you have to really do a great job of being a tremendous evaluator and finding those guys. You know, I rely on that person to be able to be a guy that can help us as a staff when we're, you know, busy in there getting our stuff schematically ready each week. He's sitting there looking for players, you know, across the country that know that fit with us and has enough connections in the areas where we have had success recruiting and has those relationships already built, which is really important to me. And then also just the creativity, the kind of the forward-thinking, you know, marketing mindset in recruiting, the maximization of technology, graphics, just the whole where the players live, which is social media, connecting with them there. I think just taking us to another level in that regard, and he brings that as well in his experience, places he's been, and just being able to help us, you know, even to add some more staff that have that experiences. And so to me, it's just about, we got to keep getting better. You know, we've done some good things. We have some really good recruiting classes here. But we've got to continue to grow in that. We got to find more creative way. We got to maximize the transfer portal in the best, most efficient way. I don't want it to be, you know, to where we rely on that. But there's good players out there you can take advantage of, but in the right way. And I think he has a good understanding of that. And coming straight from the SEC, where, you know, football is king, and it's the focus, and everything you do there is built around that. So love that mindset, and he's just also a great communicator, and he works well with others, because you got all different personalities, coaches, support staff, everybody in between there that works with our team and works with our recruiting department. So he has the ability to bring all those people together and help us have one mission of find the best players that fit with us.
Jack and Luke.
You added a couple wide receivers through the transfer portal. Could you just talk about what those guys bring to the offense? And then also, I don't think we've asked about Cam Campering, just kind of his recovery. Where's he at with that? And I guess do you expect, what's the kind of timetable on that?
Great. Okay, so first of all, E.J. Williams, Niquise Carter, two guys we've added, two experienced players. E.J. long and athletic. He can run. And great ball skills, very, very elite player out of high school. To me, I expect him to come here and play his best football. And really excited about having a chance to connect with him and develop him as a man, as a player, and just excited about what he brings to us athletically. And Keese, when he goes by Keese, Niquise Carter is super productive. Over 30 touchdowns, lots of yards, lots of catches. You know, that's one thing when you go through, you take a guy, okay, let's go find a guy that has been highly productive, maybe at a smaller level, but has that chip on his shoulder because he wants to prove he belongs with the big boys, and that's what he brings. And he wants to come here and prove that he's a Big Ten guy and can make those same amount of plays. And I've learned this, that guys that make plays at those levels, they usually transfers, you know, because it's all relative, you know. And so he knows how to get open, and he's got tremendous ball skills to be able to make plays. He's got that swagger, that confidence that he believes that when he steps on the field, that he's going go make plays. And so I love both those guys. I think they made that room a lot better, and I'm really excited to have him. And then also in regards to Cam, he's doing awesome. I mean, he's ahead of schedule. Doesn't surprise me at all. He's a worker. He's disciplined. He's mentally and physically tough. He does everything you ask him to do, which I knew when that's your qualities before the injury, then that's going to be how you're going to attack your rehab. Similar to some guys in the past, and done a really, really good job with that, and I'm really, really proud of him for it. So I expect him to be able to, do some things during the spring. He won't be full bore, but he'll keep progressing. But he'll be 100% by the season without question.
Luke and Sammy.
William Larkins has been like super vocal, super active on social media, especially throughout the season, just doubling down in his commitment to Indiana through the ups and downs. Do you generally look for like leadership from obviously incoming freshmen, and have you seen that, especially from this incoming class? Too, I know last year you saw a lot of guys who are coming in and like making sure that class stuck together.
There's no question, and it takes special guys like that. There's no doubt that things didn't go the way we wanted them to during the season, and guys have a chance to make decisions off of that. And he chose to stay with us and be committed. And he's a driven guy, and works extremely hard. He's here right now with us as a mid-year enrollee. He's our only offensive lineman out of high school that's here now, and just love the way he works. He knows he's got to do it every single day, and he was part of one of the top high school programs in the country, and down there in Florida. And so just expect him to bring that when he gets here. I've had more time to be around him now, and he's got, it's like every offensive lineman you bring in here out of high school, they always have to develop, and they have to develop at a high level in order to be able to be Big Ten guys. And I think he has the right mindset for that. And he's going to come here, he's going to work, and so, but he's also, as you said, he's not bashful to talk about how much he feels blessed and excited to be a part of our program. So, yeah, you want guys that want to be here, that love this place and feel like that this is going to be their new home, and that's what you're looking for. Some guys are a little more vocal about it. He does a great job with that, from a social media perspective, but we don't necessarily, tell them to do that. I think it's more their personality, but I also know that he has a really, really good work ethic. So I'm all about guys that work and that let their play prove it.
Sammy, then Gwen.
Coach, you picked the word toughness as your word for this year. One, why did you pick that word? And two, how do you expect the team for that to live out? What's the thing you're looking for to show you that they're living out that word this year?
Well, the thing about it is that's a daily thing, and we have 3 pillars in our program: accountability, toughness, and love. And so the chance to emphasize the thing that I felt like that we needed to emphasize. You get what you emphasize every year. And so I just felt like mentally and physically I wanted us to be able to, in order to close out these fourth quarter games. And that really was really the driving factor for me was, okay, you go back and evaluate, our games, and we had, 4 games where it could have gone either way, and it came down to fourth quarter, maybe the final drive even, in those games. And so how do you close that gap and create a different outcome? To me, it's mental and physical toughness. It's the ability right now in January, who's coming in on Saturdays to do extra work when that's a discretionary day. We have 5 days a week where we have required workouts with our guys. Well, everybody in America is doing that, all right? So I have a word that I challenge our guys with. I got it from a book I read this offseason. It's called a gimper. And what's a gimper? Well, a gimper is someone who always does a little more than what's required or expected. So I've challenged this team to be a team full of gimpers, okay? Coaches and players. It's just willing to do a little bit more. So to me, that's the mental part of it, okay? Because that sounds great, and when you start the offseason, everybody's wanting to do a little extra. Well, who's doing that, in February? Who's doing that in March? Who's doing that in April? Who's doing that in May, okay? Who does that in July? Okay, who does that? So it's just that continual mental toughness piece. And then the physical part of it is just continue to grow that. So to me, it's just about having a whole team that's just all in and bought in to allow us to be able to, because the margin for error is this. We play the schedule we're going to play. It is what it is every year. It's always the the hardest or one of the hardest in the country, and that's okay, but you better be mentally and physically tough to embrace that challenge. So just a new emphasis on that, and the way we're gonna do it with our guys, we have our accountability teams working right now, and that's another way to mentally challenge our guys and hold them accountable for their behavior and the guys around them. So to me, it's the toughness piece never goes away. So I love it. I think I've always wanted this to be really, really physically tough, mentally tough football team, and just gave us a chance to reemphasize it, and that's what we're gonna do this year, 2023.
When, and then we'll wrap with Tyler.
Hi, I was wondering if you could give us a little bit of an update on Dexter Williams right now, what's going on with him, and how he's going to play in next year, that quarterback kind of spot, and what you're looking for.
So, doing great. You know, he's attacking his rehab. Still don't know what the future holds in regards to the season. Obviously, initially it was, the diagnosis was that he'd be out for the whole year. It'd be a 12-month recovery. So there's opportunities maybe for that to increase a little bit. So I just think time will tell. He's just doing everything. All I know is he's doing everything he's asked to do every day. And don't know. And he and I have already met. He's like, Coach, whatever I can do, I'm gonna help this team win. Whether that's on the field, off the field, whatever. He's aware that he doesn't even know exactly what that might look like either. So, but he's prepared for it to be an off the field role, as he gets his body ready for whatever the future holds. But he's that kind of guy, and this team is really important to him, and he wants to see us be great. So whatever it looks like, he's going to be attacking it every single day, and I know that will be the case, and I believe he'll be when his body's ready, then he'll get a chance to get back out there.
All right, Tyler, last one.
Coach, I know after the 2021 season, you basically just went through a program evaluation of what you felt went right, what you felt went wrong, what needed to change. Did you do that again after this season? And I guess, is there anything new that you found that, hey, we need to change this with practices or change this in areas that you feel like you can keep growing?
Well, I would say yes, but not to the extent that it will be. Okay, we've been so full bore with recruiting right now, and that hasn't stopped. It's just been all-consuming. Right, and that's great. That's what it should be. So, but as you're out recruiting and you have time, I've been evaluating a lot of film. I've been watching ourselves. Been focused right now on our defense, things I want to be able to make changes with schematically, and so we're going to do the same with our offense. And Coach Bell's doing that as he's out recruiting, and you get your opportunities, little windows with our laptops in our hotels at night, late at night after we got done with everything recruiting wise. So working through that, and then also just going through just the scheduling piece as well. I have our strength staff and our medical staff going through and just looking at, once again, we had several injuries, some key guys, and so just a never-ending process trying to figure out how can we prevent those, how can we try to not have so many of those key guys out. But at the same time, that's definitely ongoing. It'll get more intense here once we wrap up this next phase and get into, once you finish the February signing, then it's full more focus in to get ready for spring football, which will start for us March 4th, which will be here before you know it. And so, but I just have to be able to continue that evaluation process as we're finishing up recruiting, and then get it to a high level once we get past it here in about a week.
All right, thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate you. Have an awesome day. Go Hoosiers.
Stay
Leo.
home.